let's uh let's get into the preview of the Sweet 16 games. First one is Alabama San Diego State. This is gonna be San Diego State's stifling defense, their toughest battle that they've faced all tournament. Um, in the end, I think they're playing too well. They're on a mission. Whatever that horrible thing that happened within their program a few months ago, it seemed to have brought them together, and they've just been able to block out the noise. And I think in the end, I think Alabama pulls away late.
I'll take Alabama too. Brandon Miller hit a couple shots towards the end there that I think is going to help him a ton going forward. So if he starts hitting shots, like I don't think San Diego State can beat him.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because he's the one piece that's been missing from Alabama after these first two games, and they still put up 80 both games. They look dialed in. It's almost like they have a us against the world mentality, and they're on a mission, and no one's going to stop them. And I don't know, San Diego State, their defense is, yes, it's stifling and it's all up in your face, but Alabama, they don't care where you're at. They're gonna chuck up their threes, and they got a hell of a shot. They're gonna make at least 40% of them, and probably advance on to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, and it sucks that San Diego State got stuck in Alabama's region because other than that, you take them against anybody at this point. The way their defense is, just a matter if they can hit shots. I think that the only way San Diego State has a shot in this game is if they just go
They're gonna have to shoot
unconscious
at least
from deep.
43% from deep if you ask me to win this game.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll see. And then going down to the other game in the South region, Creighton Princeton. Princeton, see if they can continue their magical run. Two very intelligent schools. Creighton's also known for their academic excellence, if you will. But in the end, I think Creighton's talent is going to be a little bit too much. I think Greg McDermott, with a week to prepare, I think he gets those boys ready to play, and he goes to his first Elite Eight appearance as a head coach.
Yeah, I think the Tigers' luck kind of runs out here. Creighton, I picked them before the season, picked them in this tournament to get this far, so I don't see a point to change now because they looked really damn good versus Baylor.
Yeah, like you said, it looks like it's about to strike midnight on Cinderella here for Princeton. Hey, it's a cool story, but now you're playing the big boys. You're playing the adults in the room, and a preseason top 10 team in Creighton. And they went through a lot this year. You start off 6-0. I think that you go at one point you're what? Then you lose. They
lost six straight. They had injuries and like a bunch of weird rotational issues of what Anthony Wright put it. And but then now they're playing well at the right time. Probably should be a lot higher than a 6 seed. And they've played like it so far this tournament. They're playing more like a 2 or a 3 seed.
Yeah.
But then going down to the East region, FAU versus Tennessee, and I don't know if I want to do this, but I think I might do it anyways. I really like the way Tennessee's playing right now, and I think I'm going to roll with them to go get over Rick Barnes and company to get over the hump and get to the Elite Eight and playing for a spot in the Final Four over FAU.
Yeah, I don't see how Florida Atlantic's going to get by a defense that just basically shut down 4 potential first round picks in the NBA draft. So yeah, I don't see them somehow overcoming all that to beat Tennessee.
Florida Atlantic, they mentioned in the broadcast, was one of the smallest teams in the country. They're playing a long, tall, athletic Tennessee team. You're not playing Fairleigh Dickinson, where you're going to be able to get to the bucket. If you're Florida Atlantic, this is the Tennessee team who, like I said, they're long, they're tall, they're athletic, and they found something against Duke. I don't know what it was. I don't know what Rick Barnes said during a timeout. I don't know what one of his assistant coaches said. Maybe a player said something, but Tennessee, like I said, Tennessee looks dialed in, and I think they're pissed off from what people had to say last year and this year coming into this tournament, and they're going to roll on.
I would agree with you, and it's probably going to bite us in the ass because you should. We made this rule last year. You should never trust Tennessee in March or a Rick Barnes team in March. But here we are. We're back on the train. They're going to the Elite Eight. And then going down to the second matchup in the East region, Kansas State, Michigan State. I like Kansas State in this one. I think Tom Izzo's reign runs out. I think in the end, I think Keontae Johnson, Noel, they're going to be too much for Michigan State, and Michigan State plays like a 7 seed again, and the clock strikes midnight on the Cinderella run for the Spartans.
Yeah, I have Kansas State too. I think they're too athletic for Michigan State, honestly. I think those last 3 to 4 minutes where Kansas State was actually hitting some threes, build some momentum going into this game where they can just kind of jump right from where they left. So I think this might be the best game of the weekend, though.
Yeah, it could be. It's there, especially of the Sweet 16 matchups. Yes, I would agree with you on that one for sure.
Real
and then
quick,
let's go over to the.
I'm going to disagree with you guys here. I think Tom's
Ooh.
and this staff and this team, they kind of got something out after the bad loss to Ohio State in the Big Ten tournament. Even in the regular season, that loss they should not have had at Carver Hawkeye Arena. This Michigan State team, they just kind of seem dialed in. They seem focused. Again, the classic Michigan State team shouldn't be here. And if Kansas State goes 5-21 from 3, they're not going to win this game again. They might make their shots, but you know what? I think the Spartans are playing hot. Coming off this win against Marquette, and I think they somehow sneak into the Elite Eight.
Ooh, okay. Alrighty then. Then let's go over to the Midwest region of the Sweet 16, Houston, Miami, and which I think is going to be a defensive battle. I think the only way Miami wins this game is if Isaiah Wong goes off and he scores about 30 or so points. But I think the Houston defense, they're gonna shut that down. There, I'm sure Kelvin Sampson's been in their ear ever since they figured out they were playing Miami about how Wong is unstoppable. You guys aren't going to be able to guard him. I think that's not going to sit well in the Houston locker room, and they're going to go show their coach that no, we're going to play like a 1 seed. We're going to play the way we've been playing all year, and we're going to shut them down, and we're going to go on to the Elite Eight for the 3rd straight year in a row.
Yeah, I like Houston in this game. I think they're, back to Ethan's point, they're too long and too fast on defense. They're just gonna play in front of Miami. They're gonna make Miami take a lot of long contested shots, no easy buckets, no offensive rebounds for the Hurricanes to get second chance possessions. Houston's defense is the difference in this game in the Cougs' advance.
Make it a sweep. I just think the length is going to be too much because both Pack and Wong are on the short side, I want to say, for guards. And just the length there is just too much, especially Mark. The dude is an absolute freaking alien. He's a point guard / shooting guard, but he has like a 6'8" wingspan. Like, they're not going to be able to shoot over him. They're not going to be able to get around him. Like, it's going to be
this Houston.
I think it's a blow up.
This Houston team looks like an NBA team. They look like an NBA team out here right now.
Like, legit, if I would have known Sasser was this healthy, I would have picked him from the get go. Because if they play like they did in the second half, like nobody is going to come within 10 of them. Nobody.
No, I agree with you, Ethan. That was one of the best performances I've seen. And at the end of the day, though, they are college kids, so who knows what could happen. We've seen teams that have looked really good in the first weekend and then just absolutely lay an egg in their first in the Sweet 16 games. So we'll go down to the other game, Xavier, Texas. I think this is going to be a defensive battle. In the end, I think Texas's offensive talent and Sean Miller is on the other side coaching Xavier, and he is on the list of do not trust people in second weekends of the NCAA tournament. So I like Texas to advance, which sets up an all Texas Elite Eight with a spot to play for the play in the Final Four in Houston.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know much about Xavier. Wasn't able to watch their games, this last weekend. But like I said last week, just the veteran leadership of this Texas team. They got players, Marcus Carr, who's played over 150 college basketball games. What they've been through this year with Chris Beard, they feel like it feels like a close, tight knit team, and they really got this dialed in with all their talent. And Texas is gonna advance. And said last week they're in my Final Four. I'm not backing down now.
I really want to take Xavier in this game because they can just shoot the living shit out of the ball. But I just think Texas is still playing too good to take them. Osen or whatever his name is, number ones, came back and he scored like 20 straight 20 plus like 4 straight games or something. Like he's really just been the X factor with them to go along with how Texas can shoot. So I'm just gonna roll with them. They're playing way too well right now.
Alrighty, and then we'll go down to the West region. Arkansas versus UConn. It's going to be I think this is going to be a fast-paced game. I think it's going to be up and down. It's going to be a defensive battle again. I have UConn in the Final Four. I'm going to roll with the Huskies. I think the Muss Bus runs out of gas, and I think Dan Hurley's crew is going to be just a little bit too much for Arkansas.
Yeah, I think this is when Arkansas's inexperience in their youth catches up to them. Because when you watch that game on Saturday against Kansas, when they as a team slowed it down a little bit in the half court and actually ran offense, they were unstoppable. Kansas couldn't come near them. But they also had plenty of times in that game where they tried to make it, they played me ball, where they were freshmen and they were looking for the moment. And they had awful possessions and bad shots against a good team like UConn, who's well coached and they look dialed in also. That's going to come back to bite you in the ass. So, and the Final Four is in Houston. When the Final Four is in Houston, UConn goes, or just Texas in general. So, what? Why mess with tradition? So UConn in this game.
UConn's really starting to look like themselves from back when they were like number one in the country, probably late mid-December-ish, probably right around there. Like they're getting back to that.
The last
now.
undefeated team in college basketball.
Yeah, they're getting back to that now. They're starting to hit threes more consistently. Like if there's a team that could probably challenge Houston, it probably is UConn at this point if they keep playing like it. So I'm taking UConn. They're scary right now. They made St. Mary's look absolutely like an average team, and they're not.
Yep, and that I guess that's now we've reached the end of our Sweet 16 matchups of Gonzaga UCLA. A bit of a revenge game from the 2021 season where Jalen Suggs ended UCLA's magical run in the Final Four, which was one of the best Final Four games of our time. And I think UCLA gets revenge. I think Drew Timme had the game of his life against TCU, carried them, put the team on his back. I think UCLA is going to be able to match up against him and shut him down and limit his ability and force other guys on the team to hit shots. So I like UCLA to advance to the Elite Eight.
Give me the Zags. And like I said last week, guys, this isn't Mark Few's most talented team at Gonzaga, and this team doesn't have the hype. But I think he's going to put on a coaching clinic. And then also those 2 injuries for UCLA to their backcourt, this is the week where I think it finally catches up to them. And Gonzaga is able to put up a defensive game plan where they slow the Bruins down. Timme gets his looks. He's efficient. He's effective. And I'll take the Zags in the Elite Eight.
Ooh, this bracket gives me a hope to get back into the into our bracket race, Grant, because I have both UConn and UCLA winning, and I think you've got Gonzaga going to the Final Four, so this is a big spot here. This is what you would call Saturday's moving day at the Masters. This game is moving This is the moving game for the for our
like I
bracket
said
challenge.
last night, when you were a little premature on the celebration, hey Grant, you did it. A lot of basketball left. A lot of basketball.
No, I think you did it. You got it. You have it in the bag.
I have yet to pick, I think, a higher seed, so I think that's the sole reason I'm going to take Gonzaga. This game just for whatever reason doesn't interest me whatsoever. I really don't care who wins this game. I don't think either team beats UConn. But basically, you're the sacrificial lamb to Alabama or UConn in the Elite Eight.
Yep. Well, no, you had UConn beating Arkansas, so that's the only one where you had the higher seed beating a lower seed.
UConn's the 4.
UConn's a higher seed. What? UConn's lower.
UConn's a 4. Yeah.
Yeah, that's lower than Arkansas. Arkansas is like an 8.
Arkansas is an 8.
Yeah, I picked the.
Yeah, that's the only. Yeah, well, higher, lower.
I understood what Ethan was saying.
Yeah,
Okay,
I did not.
Dumb.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
It was it's a Monday. Brain's not still always fully there.
Dylan,
but back up to the south.
At night at your time, you can't Monday excuse anymore. You're just having an off day, or you're just dumb.
Probably both. Can't rule it out. No one's ever claimed that I'm smart, and neither have I. But yeah, I just for some reason I was higher, lower. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes because the lower the number of the seed is, the better the team is. So I'm just gonna stop talking. We're just gonna go on to the Elite Eight, our Elite Eight matchups, and we all have Alabama, Creighton. Alabama, like we said, I don't see them losing. I think they're playing too well. I think Brandon Miller found something in, like Ethan said, against Maryland late in that game. I think his confidence is shooting through the roof. And I like Alabama to advance to Houston. And then in the I guess you guys go.
I got Alabama too. Wait, we're doing Elite Eight. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. I guess I still have Alabama going. I think Creighton's just too much for them, but it'd be a good game. That'd probably be one of the better ones for that weekend.
Yeah, I mean, clean sweep. This is when the length and the athleticism for Alabama comes into play, and Creighton, they're just not going to be ready for it yet. And like I said, Alabama, they've used this incident in January as a rallying cry for this team. And they're locked in. They're dialed in. I think Nate Oates is the best coach in the country. They have the best player in Brandon Miller. And they're going to be in the Final Four. I'm not changing anything. Yes, sir.
Still rolling with the tide. All right, now let's go down to the East region where Ethan and I have Tennessee, Kansas State. And Kansas State really impressed me on Sunday. I'm not going to lie. I'm fully on board the Wildcat train. I'm going pro Chris Kleiman, pro Gene Taylor, former NDSU guys. I gotta roll with them, and I don't trust Rick Barnes. So this is where Tennessee's luck runs out, and Kansas State is finding their way to a Final Four. There is a team from Kansas that's making the Final Four, and it's not the Jayhawks.
The Little Apple is going to be partying Saturday night. It's simple as that. Like, they're going to be at the Final Four.
The Little Apple is going to be partying in the Big Apple. Is that what you're saying?
No, not quite, because they're not. It's not New York. If the Final Four is in New York, then yes.
Yeah, but the East Regional is in New York.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay, but yes, they're going to be partying in the Little Apple, in the Big Apple. So I don't know where the medium apple is, but everyone's happy.
Oh, God, this puts me in a tough spot right here because I have Tennessee, Michigan State. Snake bitten last year by the Vols. Snake bitten this past fall by their football team. I can't do it. It's going to Michigan State. It's a year. Izzo does it on these odd years when they shouldn't do it. Tennessee folds under pressure. Calm, cool, collected Spartans somehow find their way back into the Final Four as a 7 seed. This year they say history repeats itself. This Michigan State team doesn't belong, kind of like their 2015 team when they played Duke. But I can't trust Tennessee in the Elite Eight when it matters the most.
Okay. All right. So right now on one side of the bracket, Ethan and I both have Alabama, Kansas State, Ethan,
Kansas
you haven't
State.
even gone yet, have you?
I put Kansas State.
Oh, okay. So we both have Alabama, Kansas State. Grant has Alabama, Michigan State. And then let's go over to the other side of the bracket where we all have Houston versus Texas in Kansas City in the Midwest region. And I'm rolling with the Cougars. I think their defense is going to be too good. Their offense, it's going to be a low scoring. Whatever the total is, probably take the under. And I have Houston in the Final Four. I have them in the national championship. I'm not gonna change that. And I'm thinking the Cougars roll into the lovely city of Houston, and they get to play in front of their home crowd at NRG Stadium.
Yeah, I got Houston. Simple as that. I mean, I already said right now they're the best team in the tournament, and respectfully, Texas is good, but they're not as good as Houston.
Well, I had to start my bracket here, boys, and the one that matters on ESPN. I had Texas in the Final Four. I had Texas in the national championship game. But I had Texas losing the national championship game to Alabama. So I don't need them to win the national title. The Houston Cougars are playing the Final Four in their own backyard. I'm going to
Oh, wow. Changing it up.
Switch it up here just because, like you said, like I've these last couple times, Houston's length and athleticism on defense is going to be too much for Texas. And
especially with the two smaller guards.
Exactly. Marcus Carr, he's going to put up 17 shots in this game, and they're all going to be ugly because they're all going to be contested.
Marcus Carr, that's not the one that played at Minnesota, is it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it really?
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
Oh, I did not know that. He seems like he's been playing college basketball forever.
Player, I think, with over 150 games played. It was something like was it like 2,200 points, 700 rebounds, and 500 assists?
Yeah, because it's like 1 year at Pitt, 2 years at Minnesota, and now this is his second year at Texas, so he's using his COVID year.
He started at Minnesota though, didn't he?
No, he was at Pittsburgh.
No, he started at Pitt? Okay. Yeah. He's not the point guard I'm thinking of that got kicked off the team for tweeting out a video.
No, that was
Tyrann Mathieu.
Who?
It was some Matthew. I can't. Maybe his first name wasn't Tyrone, but
or Mason. Mason, that's what it was. Was it Nate Mason?
Nate Mason didn't get kicked off for that.
Or he was part of it though, wasn't he?
No, it was Dupree McBrayer was part of it, but he didn't get kicked off either.
Oh, that's who it was.
For
okay.
Having fun recreationally.
Alrighty.
What a bunch of bullshit. It's cold.
What else are they going to do in Minnesota? It's cold there. They got to stay warm somehow. All right. Well, let's go down to the West region, and I have UConn, UCLA. You two have UConn, Gonzaga, and I have UConn in the Final Four. I'm going to roll with it. I think this is where UCLA's injuries catch up to them. UConn, like Ethan said, they're playing like they did in early December when they were the number one team in the country. I think Dan Hurley and company, they find their way back to Houston. It's just a date with destiny.
Well, I switched my last pick. Our ESPN bracket, Gonzaga's in the Final Four. They're losing to Alabama. They don't do me any good if they win the title. Go Huskies. We're switching it up. We're gonna switch it up this time again. Just because just watching UConn play this last weekend, they're hot. They're looking like they can really compete with either Alabama or Houston. And you know how I said this isn't the Zags' best team. Now it catches up to them. And unfortunately, Mark Few has had a couple slip ups in the tournament like this. I don't think he's going to have a slip up. I think he's just running into a buzzsaw. That is UConn. And UConn's they're just going to beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, UConn looks so good right now. It's hard not to pick them. So I'm not going to. Or I should say I am going to. Because they're just that good. And UCLA, or I guess I picked Gonzaga.
Not this
Gonzaga
Gonzaga
team.
team.
With them. No way.
Okay, well, so now we've got our Final Four matchup set. Little bits of some changes, some curveballs, if you will. Grant has switched it up with Houston going to the Final Four now, and UConn going with the Final Four. So we'll see what happens here. It's going to be exciting no matter what.